all right, I'm going to take this covered call question, and then I'm going to take James's question, and then we'll finally get to Octavio. That's my plan. Great question here. This is from Robert. Robert says, I have a covered call that is in the money. How do I use power options to know whether I should roll the position or just allow myself to be called out? If you don't mind, I'm going to set up a new portfolio real quick so it's easier to see. And we'll stay with FNV for now because we looked at it for most of the presentation. We'll call it FNV covered call. We saw FNV was up at, I'll put in my cash on hand, copy that over to my starting basis, and let's say we open this position on 5.7. Yeah, why not? 5.7. No, I don't want to do that. 4.23. Okay. All right. Why am I using that date? Because that's the date we know that when the stock was trading at, I'm sorry, the stock I had it in my notes here, but we were looking at it earlier. That's okay. I don't have to go back to the slides there. I think the stock had moved up to about 133. We know it's at 140. Okay, so now that I've created my portfolio, Robert, let's go over here. To track and manage your positions, evaluate rollout opportunities, and compare original expected gain and loss to current liquidation and future expiration value, we just want to enter the position into the portfolio. We're going to enter a covered call on FNV. We're going to take that April 23rd price that we looked at from our earlier presentation when it was at 133. And we're going to say that we sold the June 135 call at the time that was slightly out of the money. It was farther out, but the stock was only at 133. It wasn't this deep in the money. We're going to say we got 285 for it. Why not? Okay, and that was on April 23rd. Okay. So here's my covered call position. Now, if I just looked at the standard view, there's a couple views here. You've got your Greeks view and important dates. The standard view just gives you a breakdown of the current position, what your quantity is, what you paid for it, the total change for your stock, and you've got your option listed here. It's tracked as a linked position. And why that's beneficial is when I click this button that we saw earlier, this position analysis view, different from the position analysis tool, but what this does is show me what my original expected gain was. I expected to make 3.7% at June expiration if I was assigned on this position, the max return. Okay, and right now I'm at a 1.7% liquidation, so I'm missing 2% because there's still 21 days to go to expiration. The time value hasn't decayed out at that option yet. And of course, if I hold it to expiration, the stock stays where it is, we'll get the full 3.7% return. Now, we know where we stand. The stock's trading at 140. We have a 135 call that's 5 points in the money, 21 days to expiration. Do we want to hold the stock longer term? Do we want to try to get more premium? Now, originally, 420, this is another whole month. So let's just say we did do this a few weeks ago and got a good price instead of a whole month in. Let's say that this was a 45-day trade. Okay, why is that important? I'm going to show you. Okay, so now that I'm in the money, what I'm going to do is go to Position Actions and then Position Analysis. Like we saw, this gives us a breakdown of our original position, but in more detail. I've got my risk graph, of course. We know that we're in the money. I've shown my time value remaining to expiration, current delta, days to expiration is 21. Scroll down a little bit more, and now we have the full details. Well, we're at a 1.3% return at natural bid, and we've made 35.7 of the full 3.7% we expected to make on the position. So I'm not at a price where I'd like to liquidate right now because I need more time value to decay in my favor. But I want to hold on to the stock. We originally had a 3.7 return for 45 days, let's say. Okay. Why do I keep mentioning that? Because if I look at the rollout opportunities here where all the math is done for you, if we roll to the June 140 call, we could potentially have a 4.8% return. Keep the same 21 days. This would give us an increase of what? 1.1% from where we are of our expected max return of 3.7%. But the probability lowers that we'd get assigned and get that return. Now that's the question of what are your expectations? Do you think we're going to keep going up to 140? Are you trying just to potentially roll the position to stay out of the money and continue to generate income? Well, remember, we took in 285 originally. It would cost us 870 to buy it back. And going to that out of the money call for the same month, we're only getting 280. So I actually have a debit of 305. I've added 305 into the position, but now I'm holding a 145 call that's out of the money. Is this telling you what you should or shouldn't do? No, it's giving you ideas and doing the heavy lifting for you. If I thought the stock was going to stay above 40, and I was planning to be in the position 21 days anyway, and by doing this roll, I could increase my return by 1.1%, that looks pretty good to me. Now, if I extend it another 28 days from where I am right now, and I roll to the 140, we could get a potential 7% return if we're assigned. So originally, let's say this was a 45-day trade, and I was comfortable making 3.7%. By adding another 28 days to that initial 45 I was planning on staying in. So if I roll out from 21 days to expiration now to 49 to the 140 strike, well, we're going up to about 73 days total in the trade, potentially, for 7% return. Does this still match my goals? I think so. If I was comfortable with 3.7 for 30 or 45 days, I'd probably be comfortable with 7% return for 73 days. This is about 0.1% return per day. This is a little bit less than that, actually. So this might be a good go. That's when it comes down to trading plan, Robert. What are your goals for your positions? What are you looking to accomplish on 15 to 20 days out in time, okay? All right. Sudhakar says, I will likely close it and roll to a new position. He'll likely close the covered call when it's in the money and just open a new position that matches his needs. But if you want to stay in the position, you want to increase the time, for example, this is the tool that shows you how to do it once you record it, Robert, in the portfolio. This works for all strategies. Naked puts, married puts, obviously, collars, bull put credit spreads, bear call credit spreads. You can link to this tool and it'll show you if there are rollout opportunities that we usually suggest in those strategies that will appear here in the rollout opportunities. And it's great to see things numerically, but if you're interested in a potential roll, just click the More Information button, go to Simulate Trade, clear up my drawings, and this will give you a side-by-side picture, your original position on the left in red, the new potential position, what it would look like on the right in blue, and then you have it in the profit and loss chart down below, the original position in red and the higher one in blue as well, okay? All right. Okay, great. Okay, Sudhakar, thank you. Excellent. All right, so that's the tool to help you calculate the covered call rollout opportunities when you would consider rolling. Let me see here. Robert, I apologize. I'm going to jot this down. I have a more complex webinar somewhere out there on the YouTube and on PowerOptions virtual library of archived webinars on guidelines for rolling the covered calls. I'll try to get that link to you as well, as long as Neffy with the covered calls versus the married puts. All right, Sudhakar, 1 second. I'll take Sudhakar's first, then definitely James. He says, I have a question on covered call trades. Most of the time, I find the covered call ideas crater right away. Sudhakar, which ones? We don't make direct recommendations or suggestions on PowerOptions. That being said, those of you that are on a trial or subscribers, you can opt in to the morning update and price watch alerts where we send out those covered call ideas. Now those are compiled by a third party, the price watch alerts and morning update. These are comprised by a third party that uses our search tool to identify positions that match their criteria. We don't even know exactly what criteria they are using. They've changed it a couple times over the last 2 years, so I'm not really clear on it. Now we use this as a perk for our trial members and subscribers. They send it to their subscribers and they put it out to us as well. It's our hope that when a customer sees this, what they'll do is log on to PowerOptions, pull up the option chain or the covered call screen for BX or whatever's listed, look at the profit and loss chart, look at the risk reward, compare it to other strikes on that stock if they look at the stock chart and they do like it, use the PowerOptions tools to research these and to pick the covered call that best suits their needs. Now, of course, the covered call, we offer the monthly picks of the day and weekly picks of the day, and these might be a little bit considered more volatile based on return. I mean, here's one on, sorry, so RCL. I thought that was CCL, but RCL, okay, and then Grubhub as well, kind of volatile. This one dropped down $1.20 today, but you would have been in the 48 strike, so that still would have worked out pretty well. as also in that case, okay? And in this case, Grubhub, was up 388 today, so if we got in earlier with the 44 strike, might have dropped down a little bit and come back up, but it still looked like a good return for next Friday's expiration. If you're finding that the market's a little bit too volatile, Sudhakar, and you think that you might want a little bit of protection, what I might suggest is start opening those positions as the collar we were talking about before, doing the covered call but adding the put, taking away from some of the upside, but at least giving you some of the return there. And if you have examples, I'd love to see them. If you send them by email, positions that you found, the covered calls that you took from PowerOptions that created in the first day, and then I'll definitely take a look at it, see if it's common with some of the back testing, and then adjust criteria as needed.